Hey friend, Colin here from Sumthins Recording, and today I'm going to show you how to get bigger and wider mixes, and we're going to go over a couple mistakes to avoid along the way. Let me start here by showing you the mix as it is, and then we're going to talk about a couple ways that we can get it bigger and get it sounding wider. But let me show you where we're starting here. I'm going to hit play. You can hear this section of the verse going into the chorus section of this song.
Prove just what I know. This is what I can be with you. This what's become of my good graces. It's only traces of you. Love can be true. 'Cause all that's left is my red face in the
So it's sounding good, but to me it sounds a little bit flat going into that chorus, and I want the song to lift a little bit. I want it to hit harder going into this chorus section, and I want it to be wider. We've got this big stack of background vocals coming in, and they're all panned wide, but they don't hit quite as hard as I want them to inside this track. Now the first thing we could do is just throw a widening plugin on our mixbus and widen from there, right? So let's try that to start. We'll just go to our mix bus here. We'll start on our mix A, just come to the end of our chain, and we'll add in, where is it at, binaural pen, and we'll just widen our mix this way. So I'll hit play, and we'll start to push the width out on our mix here.
prove just what I know. This is what I can be with you. This what's become of my good graces. It's only traces of you. Love can be cruel. 'Cause all that's left is my red face in this empty place from you.
Now that's not bad. We've got a little bit of extra width and energy on our background vocals, but to me, this is always kind of a mistake, just throwing a widening plugin on your mix bus and widening your mix from there, because it starts to smear the bottom end and it starts to smear any mono elements in your mix. So specifically kick, snare, bass guitar, anything that's sitting just in the center, it's going to kind of start to stretch everything out in the track, and that's not what we want. I want to retain that focus in the center of the mix. Now, alternatively, something I will do, this is just a little bit of a side point here, is instead of putting it right on the mix bus, I'll put it on my parallel chain here. So this is just a parallel of the mix bus. I'm sending from mix A, which is my mix bus, to mix B, and this is something I'll do sometimes because it doesn't smear our focus as much, and it doesn't ruin our bottom end articulation, anything that's in the center, our kick and snare. So I'm going to hit play here. I'll solo this first so you can hear what it sounds like. It's a little bit of parallel compression on the mix bus, and we'll widen it, and then we'll blend it back in with the mix.
Prove just what I know. This is what I can be with you. This what's become of my good graces. It's only traces of you. Love can be cruel. 'Cause all that's
So now that's super wide. We can crank this all the way up because it's a parallel, and we'll blend this back in. So it's not going to be as exaggerated as throwing it directly on the mix bus and just widening everything that's coming into the mix bus, so stretching everything out into the stereo spectrum. It's a little bit more subtle. It still gives us some of that widening effect, but it doesn't smear our mono elements as much here. So I'm going to unsolo this, and we're going to put it back inside the mix here.
prove just what I know. This is what I can be with you. This what's become of my good graces. It's only traces of you. Love can be cruel. 'Cause all that's left is my red face in this empty place from you.
Now to me, that sounds much cleaner than putting it directly on the mix bus. We retain all of that focus we have on our mono elements, and in our bottom end, we retain all that power and that focus in the center, but we still get to push out the edges a little bit here, and we get that extra energy. Now, to make it lift in the chorus, what we're going to do is we're going to automate this pan plugin, this width plugin, to turn on the downbeat of the chorus. So I'm going to bypass this, and we're going to create a little automation lane here. So we're going to come up, edit automation, create an automation lane here for this mix B. And what we're going to do is we're going to come here at the downbeat of the chorus, and we're going to turn this plugin on. So in the verse section, it'll be bypassed, we'll be at normal width, and then we're going to get into this chorus section, and we're going to push everything out wide just on the parallel here. So you'll hear this effect come in at the chorus section. So take a listen here. I'm going to hit play. This will be bypassed in the verse section, and then when we get to the downbeat of the chorus, you'll hear this turn on.
And she'll be what I need, and prove just what I know. This is what I can't be with you. Just watch me come of my good graces. It's only traces of you. Love can't be, love can't.
Now we have some nice lift there. It's subtle because it's mixed in and it's on a parallel chain here, but it's just enough to give us an extra oomph and an extra push going into this chorus section. Take a listen one more time. We'll do a little bit of a shorter section here. Verse section, not wide, going into our chorus section. We're pushing our parallel to 200% on the width here.
Prove just what I know. This is what I can't be with you. Just watch me come of my good graces. It's only traces of you.
Now that sounded really, really good. And if I'm kind of moving fast through a mix and I want it to be wider, oftentimes this is what I'll reach for. But if I feel like getting into things and maybe going a little bit heavier with it, what I'll do is I'll get a little bit more specific here. So I'm going to get rid of this pan plugin here, and we'll get rid of our automation lane here for our mix B, because we don't need that. What we're going to do is I'm going to create a bus right here before the mix bus. So I'm going to add a bus channel, and we're going to call this, we'll call it instruments, instrabus. And we're going to send this into mix A. So I'm just placing a bus before the mix bus here, and I'm going to send anything I want to widen to this bus. So actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to send all of the effects to this bus as well, because most of these are stereo effects, and to have them get widened is fine. So all of our effects are going to send into this bus here. We will send the background vocals into this bus. We're going to leave the lead vocals in the center there. We will send our keyboards, our acoustics, and our electrics all into this bus. I'm going to leave the bass alone here. What I will do is I will take the two reverbs, the room reverb and the plate reverb on our snare, and I'll send those into the instrument bus. We can widen those, but everything else on the drums, kick, snare, toms, the side stick, even the overheads, I'm going to leave those alone because I don't want to mess with anything panning wise or width wise on the actual drums themselves, any of the spot mics, because that could give us some phase issues. That's not what I'm looking for here. So all of our instruments here, our electrics, our acoustics, our keys, our background vocals, and all of our stereo effects are now sending into this Instra bus here. So take a listen to what just this bus sounds like. So it's mainly our stereo elements here coming into this bus that we're going to widen. The idea behind that is we're not going to try and widen anything that's not stereo, anything that's mono, that's sitting up the center, that's supposed to have that mono focus and that mono power. We want to leave that stuff alone in the center of the mix, and then we'll push everything that's stereo out further into the spectrum. We will enhance the stereo imaging of only elements that are already stereo. So we retain that mono focus in the center. So now we're going to pull in this pan plugin, that same binaural pan plugin, and we're going to widen just these stereo elements here on this bus.
What's become of my good graces? It's only traces with you. Love can't be cruel, 'cause all that's left is my red face in this empty place from you.
I'm digging that right there at about 120%. It's enough that it lifts the background vocals, it lifts our stereo guitars, and it gives us some extra width and some extra power to this track. So let's take a listen along with everything else here, and then we'll do the same kind of thing we did on the mix bus or our mix B, and we'll automate it to turn on and off.
Prove just what I know. This is what I
That's feeling much better. So this is more focused and it's a lot more specific than just doing it on the parallel chain for the mix bus here, because we only enhance elements that are already stereo in the tracks. We get all of that nice focus in the center of the mix on our kick, our snare, and our bass guitar, which sounds really, really nice as we push everything else out around it. Keeps our lead vocal really, really centered as well. So let's do the same thing here. We'll automate this, so we'll bypass it. We'll create an automation lane on this bus here, and at our chorus section, we will turn this on. So as we move from our verse section into our chorus, all of our stereo instruments are going to get wider. So our background vocals, keys, guitars, and acoustic guitars as well, and then our stereo effects on our drums. So our plate reverb and then our room reverb on our drums. All of that stuff is going to get widened. It's going to get a little bit further out in the stereo spectrum, but everything in the center is going to stay untouched. It's going to stay right where it is. So we retain all of that power in the center. So take a listen here. Verse section without this, and then into our center.
prove just what I know. This is what I can't be with you. 'Cause what's become of my good graces? It's only traces with you.
That's the lift I'm looking for there. So we take everything that's already stereo, that's already wide, we push it out a little bit further, we retain all of that focus and power in the center. So as we get to this chorus section, we just get that nice lift on our background vocals, and it gives a little bit of extra push to our guitars as well. So those kind of come up in our chorus as our background vocals come in to give us the lift and energy boost in this chorus section. Listen one more time here. No widening in the verse, and then widening our stereo elements in the chorus section.
Prove just what I know. This is what I can't be with you. 'Cause what's become of my good graces? It's only traces with you. Love can't be cruel. 'Cause all that's left is my red face in this empty place from you.
So to get bigger and wider mixes, we were doing a couple things here. If you want to move a little bit faster, what I recommend is on your stereo bus, if you have a parallel chain running on your stereo bus, that's where you want to do your widening. So just put a widening plugin on your parallel chain and push out from there. That way you can blend it in. It's a little bit more subtle. If you want to be more specific, create a separate bus to send your stereo instruments to. So guitars, keyboards, any stereo background vocals, and all of your stereo effects, so reverbs, delays, anything like that, send them into this bus and then push them out from there. So we're only widening elements that are already stereo, so we retain all of that focus and power in the center of the mix. I hope that was helpful for you if you are looking to go a little bit deeper into the mixing process in its entirety and really start to hone your workflow as an audio engineer. Then I have just the tool for you, and it is completely free. It is my 7-step mixing checklist, and it's just a simple PDF guide that will walk you through the entire mixing process step by step to help you get professional and radio ready mixes without any more of the guesswork. Completely free to download, and you can get access to that by clicking the link below in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.